and gentlemen, welcome back to our new episode of the KnoBall Podcast. Of course, I'm Lewis here with my co-host Luke, and today we will be discussing NFL, and more specifically, the NFL Draft. As we know, that is coming up this week. First round being on Friday, I do believe.
Sounds right to me.
So today we're going to be doing our in-depth take on the first round, and who will teams pick, who will they not pick, possible scenarios and things like that. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into it. First things first, round one, pick one belonging to the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans, obviously a team, tons of holes, nothing really addressed exponentially well in the offseason, I would argue. So what do the Titans do with their first pick?
Lewis, there's many ways you can go right here. I mean, Cam Ward, obviously, a lot of mocks have him going first overall. 6'2", 219 out of Miami, Florida. He's a big frame, physical guy, big arm. I mean, they could take him, but at the same time, that's a big question mark if he develops into the quarterback that the Titans are going to need. Guys like you have Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders at the top of the draft too. I kind of see them going Cam Ward here.
I agree. We can play if ands, but at the end of the day, I think we've seen Cam Ward he reminds me a lot of Cam Newton. Coming out of college, big physical guy, can run well, can throw the ball well. I think you're looking at a team that they are in a total rebuild right now, with not very many positions outside of. Tony Pollard's not a bad running back. From what I was reading, they loved him with his pre-draft interviews. If you watch when he talks about the Titans, he speaks very highly of the Titans. I see Cam Ward going 1-1 to Tennessee.
And bringing in Cam Ward is it couldn't be bad.
That's right.
I don't know if that's how you exactly want to use your first overall pick. It might be better for them to trade back and grab another first, because you do have Will Levis in the building, who didn't play terrible last season. For the expectations placed on him, it wasn't a terrible season. You could have guys like Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, like you mentioned. Treylon Burks is young and he'll be decent, but you don't have that core of players that you can throw a rookie quarterback in and expect them to succeed.
That's right. And again, I think that you might see that. It seems like teams are going back to the original quarterback model for the most part of draft a guy, have him sit at least for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
And again, I could totally see them doing that because, they could go out and sign like Aaron Rodgers, have that veteran guy come in the first half of the season. Don't shake his confidence, because I think you see with quarterbacks like Bryce Young, when you're a rookie quarterback and you just get thrown into the wolves in a horrible situation, their progression takes forever to progress. It's very rough around the edges. But again, at the end of the day, the Titans, you need your general. You need someone that can command the team. They need a quarterback. I like everything about Cam Ward. His potential is through the roof. So I round one, pick one. I gotta go Cam.
Yeah, I agree. Where do you think the Browns go here? This mock from CBS Sports has them taking Travis Hunter. What do you think about that?
So here's what I'm gonna say about that. Travis Hunter is an interesting pick. For a while, I thought they might go Abdul Carter, but with Myles Garrett being re-signed and with Abdul Carter's major injury, I would argue that might not actually happen. However, I don't know if Travis Hunter is the right pick at 2, because the Browns need a corner, yes. The Browns need a receiver, yes. Travis Hunter, regardless of what people are, that boy is not going to be able to play both sides of the ball.
For sure, yeah. I agree.
All the time. So you are either going to draft him at a receiver or you are going to draft him at corner. And at either position of the ball, he is not the best available in the draft. So I think NFL teams know this. There's no way that they're going to be able to play him there, both sides of the ball all the time. I mean, in college, dude was getting over 100 snaps a game.
He was gassed. Fourth quarter, he was gassed.
I mean, you don't get that in the NFL, man.
No.
You cannot compete. You cannot stay healthy. He's not a very big guy. Especially for a receiver. He does not have a receiver build.
6 foot 188.
So again, immeasurables are not where I want for a receiver. He's got the height. I mean, 6'1's not bad for a receiver, but 188. Again, I'm looking at more of a corner, in my opinion. I don't think he didn't play receiver exceptionally well. He played good on both sides of the ball, but he is not the best receiver, and he is not the best corner in the draft. So, and there's no way he's going to be able to play both sides of the ball. With that being said, I imagine he'll still probably get drafted. More so, if anything, money. Travis Hunter's a huge name in coming into this draft. Whatever team drafts him is going to get a lot of attention on them, jersey sales.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a guy that's gonna sell tickets.
I agree.
He's going to draw media attention for your team in training camp, preseason. So I do think the Browns probably go Travis Hunter here. And again, he will be good at whatever position he plays, but he's not going to be able to play both. However, if he does go into play corner, I like him on the Browns' defensive scheme. He's a quick nickel guy. The Browns love their nickel corners, so I think Denzel Ward is still there. Good guy to mentor under. I think he's still there.
Yeah, I think so.
So, again, you could have him at your 2, and he could develop into that 1 again. But there's no way he is going to play both sides of the ball full time. He might get thrown in some trick plays on whatever side he's not starting on. But he's going to be a corner or a receiver, and everything is pointing towards him going into the draft as a corner.
Yeah, I agree with that. Moving to the Giants at pick 3. This mock has them taking Shadur Sanders. I don't know. The Giants also have a lot of needs, but they've already added Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston to that roster.
And I agree, but here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say about that. I see a bunch of stuff saying the Giants have addressed their quarterback need. They have Russell Wilson. They have Jameis Winston. And that's true. They do have those guys. However, what has Russell Wilson done to prove that he should be a starting quarterback in the league anymore? He's getting older. He is regressing. The only reason he had so much success on the Steelers, I would argue, was because Justin Fields played so good at the first half of the year that before Russell Wilson came back from injury, and that kind of carried that season. With that being said, some of the mocks I see them taking Abdul Carter. They have Brian Burns. They have Sexy Dexy. I don't think edge is their number 1 priority here. You need to get someone that can feed the ball to Malik.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors.
I don't think Shadur Sanders is the greatest quarterback ever. However, I don't see a ton of options for the Giants.
Yeah.
They need a quarterback. You can get a guy that can sit a year or sit halfway through the season under Russ, have him learn. Jameis is a locker room guy.
Yeah.
So you get those 2 guys to teach these veteran quarterbacks, teach Shadur the game. Have him learn from those guys, and then down the stretch, let him play. But again, the Giants need a quarterback. Both of the guys they brought in were short-term solutions. They need someone long-term.
Yeah, they're bringing in Russ to be a bridge quarterback at the end of the day. Like, Shadur Sanders is the guy that the GM and the coach want to hook their wagon to and, like, try to hold on to him for 5-10 years. If he's that guy, I mean, we'll see. I personally don't see it. Struggling in a division with Colorado and other teams like that. I just don't see it, but obviously it's a team sport, so we'll see how that plays out when he's on with whatever team he gets drafted to.
Yeah, for sure. So now moving on, Patriots with the 4th pick. Who do you think?
I mean, at this point, you have to take Abdul Carter. Like, debatably the best player in the draft, falling to 4. The Patriots love their defensive guys. They love taking that alpha defensive lineman, pairing him up with the other guys on that defensive line will just be ridiculous once he comes back and is fully healthy, ready to go. What do you think?
I agree. However, Abdul, the thing that the Patriots might be reserved about, Abdul's going to probably miss this whole season.
Yeah, that is.
So you are going to have a guy who, on paper, yeah, I mean, he balled out in college, and there is a strong case that he probably is the best player in this draft.
Oh, I believe.
However, you are already going to, I think he's 23. You're already going to miss a year of development based off an injury, and then, so his sophomore year is the first time he's going to get NFL action, and he's not probably going to come out of the gate shooting from the hip. It's, you got to develop this guy a little bit, so you're looking at 2 years before you even see probably real impact from this guy.
Yeah.
So, again, the Patriots, yes, they need defensive help. And I love the pick with Abdul. They could go Abdul. However, if they weren't to go Abdul, I really think they would go Will Campbell, the best offensive lineman in the draft coming out of LSU. O-line needs to be addressed. They were a heavily rushed team last year. So, and you need to protect Drake.
Yeah, I agree. I think Will Campbell would be a good pick if they are weary on Abdul's injury.
Yep.
I mean, I could also see them going Mason Graham here, honestly.
Yeah.
Big tackle, defensive lineman, nose tackle guy out of Michigan. I mean, it just makes sense. Any 3 of those guys is a good pick for this team.
I agree.
A common theme here with the top 5 teams in the draft. They have so many holes. Like, these guys are so even, there's not really going to be a bad pick here.
I agree. So, moving on now, number 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously a team, very disappointing season. A lot of talks about if Trevor Lawrence is going to be that guy. However, there are a few bright spots on the team. Of course, they have Josh Allen, their defensive end, serviceable guy, and then of course their breakout receiver out of LSU, Brian Thomas Jr. He had an incredible year last year, easily a top 5 rookie receiver last year, and you can maybe even make a case that he was, based off of last season alone, probably the best receiver out of the class, just off of last year.
Yeah.
So I think that is good. So they either go 2 ways. If Will Campbell is still there, I think they take Will Campbell. But if Will Campbell is not there, and Abdul's already been picked, I think they go with the best corner in the draft, Will Johnson out of Michigan. This guy, they need secondary help pretty badly. And Will Johnson, man, I love everything about this kid. Obviously, coming from Michigan, he has very admirable stats here due to 6'2", 202. I mean, that is a corner build right there. He plays the game well. Obviously, what he kind of lacks a little bit, maybe so much in the interception game. He reminds me a lot of, what was that guy Dallas had a couple years ago?
Trevon Diggs?
No. The guy that jumped really high he broke the record for the. He's a jump ball guy. He's a jump ball guy is what I'm getting at. He swats.
Yeah.
He locks down. He doesn't get a lot of balls thrown to him.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's because that's not because they don't throw him that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So and Jacksonville needs that kind of guy. So I really like Will Johnson there at 5 for our buddies down in Jacksonville.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that pick. I mean, Will Campbell, dude, like, he's an anchor. He's going to be an anchor to whatever offensive line he's on for years.
Yep.
Years. But
you're looking at a Penei Sewell kind of player.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think they probably go defense here, whether it be Mason Graham or Will Johnson.
Yep.
I do think that could be a little bit early for Will Johnson, but because there's some other big names on here.
Yep.
Well, it's just how the team feels at this point. But, pick 6.
So Raiders at 6. What are your thoughts on where do you think they go?
If Will Campbell's still there, they take him.
I agree. So if Will's there, they take Will. If Abdul's there, they take Abdul.
Yeah.
If Shadur is there, they take Shadur.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 guys. I mean, those are probably the 3 biggest positions. Obviously the Raiders, they are horrible. The organization is they're in disarray.
Yeah.
However, I like Pete Carroll as a coach.
I do. Yeah.
I think that is that'll be good for them. But they need offensive line. They could definitely use some help. Obviously, they have Max Crosby. Max is getting up there in age. Need a guy, especially with how much drama there was with him this season on that team. You need another guy to play off of him. And, the secondary, I guess they addressed it a little bit. They signed Jeremy Chin, who was a serviceable safety, but with an iffy injury history. So, again, they're going to take whatever of those 3 guys is there, they'll take. And again, also a quarterback. I do not follow the hype with
Shadur?
No, not with Shadur. The guy from Seattle, Geno. I don't follow the Geno Smith hype at all. So if Shadur is there, I think they take Shadur.
Yeah, no, I think same situation as the Giants. Like with Shadur, you would sit him. I don't think he's ready to start at all. And Geno's that bridge quarterback.
Yep.
So I feel like that's very plausible for them to go that way. We're also starting to get into that territory where if people want to reach and take Genty, like this is going to be that range where a team might go ahead and reach and draft him.
No doubt.
But yeah, I think that's good. Moving to pick 7, we have the Jets.
Oh, man, what a story the Jets have had this offseason. All the drama with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
All the coach carousel they went through mid-season. However, I think this year is the year we finally see some turnaround in New Jersey. The Jets have made some decent moves this offseason.
Yeah,
Justin Fields, I think, is going to be the reason that they go positive in the win column this year.
I agree.
They have a good team. The pieces were there. They were just missing a quarterback.
Yeah.
Offensively, I think they're pretty well set. They probably need some help on the O-line. However, their biggest need is on the defense. And this is where I see Mason Graham going. Big DT out of Michigan. Obviously, you want someone to play on the opposite side of Quentin Johnson. Again, you're talking about the ability you can beef up your defensive line in a very productive way. And I think, especially with the loss of Hassan Reddick, that they are definitely in the need of continuing to build up that defensive line. So I think Mason Graham, he's going to be an instant day 1 starter, perfect fit for that Jets defense.
For sure.
And that's where I see them going. They also might go Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. Their tight end, I don't believe they have anyone strong in the tight end game. But Mason Graham is just such a talent at defensive tackle. If he is there, you just can't pass him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Moving to pick 8, we have
the Carolina Panthers.
Panthers at 8.
My team right there.
Hometown team.
And the Panthers are the most interesting team, I think, at 8, because what do they do? They are a team that every week there's a different story. One week they're taking Jalen Walker. One week they're taking I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Tetaroa McMillan.
Teratoa McMillan, that's it. Out of Arizona. I've seen mock drafts where they draft Malik Starks. Again, I don't really know what they do at 8.
Yeah.
The mock I'm looking at right now says they take Tyler Warren at Penn State there, However, I don't like that. Here's what I like. I saw a report today, and I think that this is perfect. I think Ashton Jeanty will still be on the board at 8, personally.
Yeah.
And there are teams down a little bit that could use some running back support. Arizona, Denver.
Yeah.
You are looking at guys that I'm perfectly fine with the Panthers trading down. I don't love the people around 8 a ton. So you trade down, we get another second round pick, we get a later first round pick, and I tell you, I really like Denver trading for up to 8. Denver trades up to 8, they draft their running back because they lost Javonte Williams. So you trade up to 8, now you have your running back for Bo Nix, you have your established receiving core, your defense is solid, really solid, and you've addressed some holes through free agency. Your biggest hole in your game right now is your running back. So you get the best running back in the draft.
Yeah, and we're seeing an NFL that's coming back around to running backs. There was a few years there where running backs were in and out, paid garbage. Nobody wanted them. It was just constant rotation, draft, run them into the ground, draft, run them into the ground. We're coming back around. I mean, you see the teams like the Eagles, Saquon, putting all their chips on a big name guy like him.
And it paid off
It paid off instantly.
Yep.
So, I mean, Jeanty is a logical choice here. I really like McMillan out of Arizona. He's really good, big name guy. I like him. Another weapon for Bryce Young at 8 if they want to stick and pick. But I do see what you're saying about trading back and letting the Broncos come up. I mean, you might even have teams like the 49ers that want to come up a little bit, get another receiver with their with losing Debo and then with Brandon Ayuk being unhappy.
Yeah.
So I think they should keep the phone on, see what's open right there.
I agree.
But, yeah.
So again, I don't see them taking a pick. I truly believe they would trade down. I don't know with who, but I do not see them taking a pick, getting drafted.
Yeah, for sure.
Sticking with their pick there. So moving on to number 9, the New Orleans Saints, staying in the NFC South. The Saints obviously having a disappointing year. Where do they go at 9?
I see them either going Malachi Starks out of Georgia.
Yep.
To pair up with Tyrann Mathieu because he's getting a little older in age. A hard-hitting safety out of Georgia. That's nothing new there. They could also go McMillan out of Arizona.
If he's there.
Pair him with Olave. That's a good combination for their wide receiver room moving forward.
That's who I have the Saints taking. I have this. Because I truly don't believe that the Panthers will go McMillan. I see McMillan falling to the Saints at 9, and he and Chris Olave will be teammates in New Orleans. I don't think they addressed the quarterback situation in the first round, or maybe at all this draft, because he's not as indecent, I'll say, as Derek Carr is. I don't think there's any other quarterbacks in this first round that I could see them taking.
Yeah, like they're not going to take, like with Shedeur and Cam Ward off the board, you're not going to see them stick and pick Jalen Milroe or Will Howard right here.
Right.
That's just not going to happen.
Jackson Dart, those guys, those guys are later round quarterback. And again, I think one of those guys could go to New Orleans. I think one of those guys should go to New Orleans.
Oh, for sure.
But that's not; those guys are not first round quarterbacks.
No.
Those guys are pick and sit on the bench for a year to develop and see. Because again, I think they're talented.
Yeah, for sure.
Those guys, but I don't see them going in the first round. Anyway, getting back on track here. So yeah, I think Tet at 9 for New Orleans there. Number 10, the Chicago Bears. Arguably one of the most exciting teams in football going into this offseason, in my opinion. Their offense has the potential to be incredibly exciting. Caleb Williams going into his sophomore year, having a decent rookie year. Biggest thing for him was dude probably got rushed a little too much. I think he was the most rushed quarterback in the league this year.
He was up there for sure, most pressure.
So, but they did go out and they got an offensive lineman, Joe Tooney out of the Chiefs. But I think they continue on that trend, and this is where I think you see Armand Membo out of Missouri get taken. Another super talented offensive tackle coming out of an SEC program school. This guy, his measurables are nice. He's a big, strong tackle. He's going to play nicely on the opposite side of the line and protect his blind side a little better.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and you beef up that offensive line, and you give Caleb all the time in the world to throw. Their receiving room is still solid. Look obviously for a better season out of Romeo Odunze, and bounce back here from DJ Moore as well. However, I think offensive tackle just makes the most sense for them. Give Caleb Williams that extra time to throw the ball, as well run block, and I think you'll see less pressures and more touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, Membo he's the guy that they need.
Yep.
830 snaps this past season at Mizzou,
Yep.
and 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits. So
Yep.
I mean, that stat alone is going to get you taken in the first round.
Okay.
I mean, along with his measurables, I think that's a solid pick. How do you have the 49ers going at 10 or 11?
49ers at 11. Interesting team here at 11. There's a couple different ways they could go. However, I think at 11, they probably need a receiver. However, I don't really like any of the receivers available this early in the draft, especially if Tet's off the board. They lost Teron Armstead, so I think they could go Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, another solid offensive lineman. However, they could also pivot from that and go. Again, I think that's the pick that makes the most sense. But also, I look at Mike Green from Marshall and Shimmer Stewart from Texas A&M. Both of those guys are talented edge rushers, and the 49ers could go down that route as well. Again, they have Nick Bosa, but they lost Greenlaw, who was a major impact on their sack game. So I could see a Mike Green or a Shimmer Stewart getting drafted by them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this would be a good spot for them to go Jahad Campbell out of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a pretty big linebacker. I'll give you his stats here real quick. 13 games, almost 800 snaps, with the 8th of those being pass rush. So he has no problem rushing the ball or rushing the quarterback. He has 90 tackles on the season. I mean, I like that for the 49ers, giving them a chess piece for their linebacking core. Like you said, they lost Trey Greenlaw. I feel like that would be a good pickup here at 11. Maybe a little bit early, but if he's the guy that fits their scheme, then they're going to take that guy. I could also see them going Malachi Starks. He's still on the board. I mean, I think they have Hufanga still, but I mean, let's be honest, it's Hufanga. Like,
Yeah.
they could get another guy for the secondary, and Malachi Starks. I mean, you could flex him to corner if you needed to. I mean, he lined up at corner for a few snaps at Georgia, but not that many. So
Yeah.
either of those guys would be good for Kyle Shanahan and his defense.
For sure. Moving on to number 12, the infamous
Cowgirls?
Dallas Cowgirls. Man, I don't even know where to begin with this team. They continue to get worse and worse every year. They lose players and they bring nobody in.
Yep, they refuse to sign anybody.
And which is but the other issue with that is all their salary cap is pretty much tied up within 2 players.
Yep.
So they just don't go. They get no one. And this is a thing that's going to hold them back. I don't think they go running back. I know a lot of early reports are saying running back, but I think Genty probably will be gone by 12. So I see them probably going defense here. Although offense wouldn't be a shocker. Zach Martin did retire, and with most of their other offensive linemen being very injury prone, but their defensive line, someone to play on the off ball of.
I know
What's his name?
Eric Kendricks is there, but that's not who you're talking about.
No, I can't remember his name. Michael Parsons.
Oh yeah.
Duh. So I think if Mike Green or Shamir Stewart is there, that's who they go with.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think with their first round pick, they should get a new GM. That's probably a good spot to start.
I think they should.
They should draft Howie Roseman out of
They should figure out a way to get Jerry Jones out of there.
Yeah, owner and GM is not a good combo.
Especially for someone as narrow-minded as Jerry.
Yeah. But moving to pick 13, we got the Dolphins. I do not know what they're going to do here. What do you think?
Oh, man, I don't know. They're an interesting team here at 13. I really thought they might go, if Malachi Starks is there, I could see Malachi falling. I like Jalen Walker. But I also really like, this might be a bit of a, I like Derek Harmon going into Miami. DT out of Oregon. Dude's 6'4", 313. Dude is with huge arms. He can help their run defense out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think another way they could go, Walter Nolan.
Yeah, at Ole Miss.
Yeah. Defensive line. I mean, second highest rated defensive lineman in the draft. Falling to 13 is not a bad pick. Another way they could go, Jahdae Barron, Texas. Their corner out of Texas. I mean, he's a physical guy. Played almost 1,000 snaps for Texas last season. Almost 600 of those in coverage. Only allowed 37 catches on 68 targets. So that's a good rate of pass blocks or whatever it's called, whatever that stat is. That's a good way the Dolphins could go, especially since they lost Jalen Ramsey just a couple days ago. That one's still kind of fresh, so they might be reeling from that. But besides that, the Dolphins always need O-line help. Tua is getting obliterated.
Yeah.
Every season. I mean, he's had 10 concussions at this point.
That's right.
Bro needs to either.
And then they might go Tyler Booker out of Alabama.
Yeah.
Or anyone that we've mentioned previous offensive line, if one of those guys are available as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But assuming they're gone.
Yeah. Kelvin Banks, Josh Simmons.
Yeah.
Josh Simmons, any of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Colts at 13. This one's interesting. 14, yeah. Thanks for the correction.
Of course.
Tight end, guard, edge, linebacker, safety. Malachi Starks, if he's here, I think they go with him.
Maybe. I think the guy that makes the most sense here, I think Walker probably makes the most fit for this team. But if Tyler Warren out of Penn State is still there, then I think Tyler Warren, because they need tight end help.
I agree.
But I also I like Starks, or again, I think Jalen Walker will probably fall around to the mid-teens picks. And I think Indianapolis makes a perfect fit for him going to his NFL debut.
Yeah, for sure. With the Falcons at 15.
Another NFC South team. Interesting. They're in an interesting spot. They have all this money tied up in Kirk Cousins, who isn't even going to start this year.
Exactly. The guy they want to fall is Will Johnson. If Will Johnson is there, they have to take him.
I'm sure. And you could also. This is another guy this is another team that could trade up.
Yeah.
Get their guy. However, if not, I think they go defense. Again, I think if Derek Harmon is there, they take Derek Harmon. Michael Williams out of Georgia, he could be a nice fit there as well.
Yeah, I mean, Will Johnson loves zone. He's really good at zone. That's where he plays his best. Atlanta also loves zone. So I think that is a realistic situation where we could see Atlanta trading up, especially with all their money tied up in Kirk Cousins, like you said, getting that cornerstone player for cheap is what they need at this moment.
Yep.
So if he's their guy, we'll see them go get him. Cardinals at 16.
Cardinals 16. I think if Barron is there, they'll jump on him. I don't know. They might go at 16. They probably need a receiver, but I don't think the only guy I think that's even close to relevant at 16 would maybe be Matthew Golden out of Texas. But I still think that's a strong reach for him.
Yeah, I mean at 16, my bad.
Yeah.
We might see them grab Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a little early for him, but I mean he's a weapon. Put him next to Marvin Harrison Jr. That's a good duo for years to come. I mean, Kyler Murray will just be feeding them the ball. But the issue with that is they have no O-line. I see them going O-line here. Whoever's the best available at this point, like they need help everywhere when it comes to the O-line. So, I mean, Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, Kellen Banks Jr., Gray Zabel. I like Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. I think that's a little bit early for him, so I could see them also trading back and still picking Gray Zabel up in this situation, grabbing an additional second round pick, and then maybe you see them take Egbuka in the second round. I will just have to see how this plays out, but a couple different ways they can go here.
Yeah. No, for sure. Following our friends in Arizona, our buddies over in Cincinnati. Cincy, the Bengals. Obviously, the Bengals are in a bit of a rough spot right now. 40% of their cap space is tied up between Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay, that's all they need on the offensive side of the ball.
Again, Joe Burrow was pressured so their offensive line is in utter shambles over there in Cincinnati.
It is, but they were putting up 40 points a game.
And that's true. So what do you go with? Do you protect Joe Burrow more, or do you address the fact that you scored 40 points in a game, but you still lost half?
The other team also scored 40 points.
Right. I mean, what do you address there? Defense probably makes more sense on this. And this is where I think Jihad Campbell out of Alabama will probably go.
Yeah, I agree. Jihad Campbell would be a
signal caller guy.
Really good pick here for the Cardinals. That cornerstone linebacker, we're talking like, what's the guy in San Francisco's name?
Greenlaw? Or Fred Warner?
Yeah, I see him being a Fred Warner cornerstone for that linebacker room type player.
Mm-hmm.
They need that. They need that chief. They need him fast and young. Like the Bengals are getting on the older side of the league, of the teams in the league. Joe Burrow, he's good enough out of the pocket. His pocket presence is very good. He's good enough to roll out when he feels that pressure. For them to be able to take some guys on that O-line later in the draft, I think they go defense here, get that strong linebacker, and then go O-line with their next pick.
I agree. The only problem with Cincinnati getting is a defensive guy is again, defense is just real rough around the edges, and whatever guy they take, you're getting thrown into the wolves. It's a tough situation defensively in Cincinnati, so I kind of feel bad a little bit almost for anyone that goes there because the task at hand there is so huge, and you don't have a lot of help. It's very put the team on your back there in that situation, but nevertheless they'll still probably go down that path. All right, pick 18, fellas in Seattle, the Seahawks, having an interesting offseason themselves, bringing in elite quarterback talent with Sam Darnold, paying him his bag. And also, of course, getting rid of Tyler Lockett and trading away DK Metcalf.
I see them going receiver here. You have Ibuka and Luther Burden III on the board still.
I agree.
The need is there. You have Smith and Jigba. He is going to be very good, but he is not the Justin Jeffersons, the Jamar Chases that pull double coverage.
Yep.
He's gonna be single coverage, gets open some. If they double him, he's locked up.
Mm-hmm.
They need that second guy that can break coverage, get down the field. I think for this team that is Emeka Ibuka.
Yeah, Ibuka for sure. I don't hate Golden if Golden is there. The thing I do like about Ibuka though is Ibuka's measurables are a little more attractive. He's a little taller, a little heavier. I think he's a little more athletic, and if he's there, probably. But I don't hate Matthew Golden either. But I think Ibuka probably he complements JSN's skill set a little more than Matthew Golden.
Yeah, and with how Seattle's wanting to run their offense, they rely heavily on Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker's an amazing player.
For sure.
Very underrated, I would say.
Yeah.
I love drafting Kenneth Walker in fantasy, but that's a whole other podcast in itself right there.
Yeah.
But the way that Sam Darnold needs to play, coming from a Vikings fan, is high repetition of like similar plays over and over and over. And Matthew Golden, he's a guy that's a little bit more of a deep threat, a little bit more of a he's there and then we're gonna hit him. Emeka Ibuka is steady. He had 80 receptions last season, over 1,000 yards, 12.5 yards a catch. Matthew Golden, on the other hand, 60 receptions, 900 yards, but 17 yards a reception. So I see them going Ibuka here.
Yeah.
Matthew Golden's obviously not a bad pick, but I think Ibuka fits with Sam Darnold's play style a little bit better.
Sure. No, I agree. Moving into the last team with the NFC South, my truly hated team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have some pretty glaring holes on the team. I don't think they have a lot of direction on where they want to go. Obviously, Baker had an alright season. Actually real good season, I'd argue. Bucky Irving really emerging himself as a stud running back. Offensive line continues to look good. Defensively, I think they're lacking, as well as their receiving core is getting up there in age. You're talking about a very injury-prone Chris Godwin, as on top of a increasingly aging Mike Evans, who last year, thanks to a last-second play, did continue his 1,000-yard streak. But let's not kid ourselves. His production over the last couple seasons has been on a steep decline. So, again, I think receiver wouldn't be the worst pick here. But I think their biggest need, I think they might be able to wait. I like Nick Imawarney out of South Carolina. I don't think I pronounced that right. But dude is ranked the second best safety in the class. They need secondary help. So I think that this is where they probably go.
Yeah. I think that would be a good pick. I mean, also going potentially tight end, Colston Loveland out of Michigan would not be a bad pick.
I don't hate that
like you
pick.
said, the receiving core needs a little bit of help. He would also help the O-line a little bit, being able to pick up some of those blocks. He's not the biggest tight end. He's slot snaps. He had a 110, inline snaps, only 75 last season. So you can see that Michigan liked using him more over the middle type player and not lined up for pass blocking. So I could see that helping their passing game a little bit. averaging 10 yards a catch, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns last season. I think he's a solid tight end to anchor that room.
Yeah, no doubt. Coming up at pick 20, we have the Denver Broncos. Again, if the Denver Broncos stay sitting where they are, I would assume this is where Marion Hampton at North Carolina probably gets drafted. Really attractive running back here. His stats are pretty. You're looking. I mean, he rushed for 1,600 yards, 373 receiving yards, 17 touchdowns on the year. Dude had an incredible season. Was the staple on a rather weak North Carolina offense last season.
For sure.
So major production on a team that couldn't really produce. So I think he'd fit good. 6 foot 220, nice measurables. I think everything you'd want out of a late first round pick running back he would have. They compare him a lot to Brian Robinson, who of course is a solid player. Ran a 4.46, so he's quick. Again, I think if Denver stays at 20, they'll pick him. If Denver doesn't stay, then whoever they traded with is gone.
I think that's pretty likely in this situation. I think we can move on to pick 21. We have our friends up north, Pittsburgh Steelers. They have a few needs. Solid defense. I think you go offense here. The defense, I think, really carried the team the second half of the season. That, like you mentioned earlier, that momentum that Justin Fields built in the first half of the season really carried that team through with Russell Wilson at quarterback playing like crap, honestly. There's a couple ways you can go here. Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. One of those guys is going to be available at this spot. I think there's not a wrong choice between the two of them. They're pretty evenly matched in this situation. Both played in big conferences against good defenses. So I like either of those guys at this pick.
Again, I like those picks. If Loveland is there, I think they also probably go Loveland. I know they have Freiermuth, but Freiermuth has not been the most productive tight end. And again, I think you could probably do a 2 tight end system there, but again, they traded for DK. Obviously there's room for improvement on the offense, but their biggest need is quarterback. But I don't think there's no quarterback at 21 for them to take.
Nope.
Unless Shador or Cam falls, but I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Again, they might. I think they just take best available at this point, especially offensively. It's like you said.
Yeah, there's no obvious quarterback choice there for them at all. Moving to pick 22, a team I like a lot coming into this season. We got the Chargers out in LA. I think Colson Loveland is the obvious choice if he's still there. If he's not there, I honestly don't really know where they would go with this. Jim Harbaugh is a great coach, manages to fill holes on the roster without actually getting any players, just by the plays he calls.
Yep.
I don't know where he would go with this, but maybe another receiver. You lost Keenan Allen the previous offseason. You have Quinton Johnson, or whatever his name, however you say his name, it's not Johnson. He's not very good. But you need some help in that receiving core, so they could go Luther Burden here. But I think they need somebody on the offensive side of the ball to catch those laser beams from Justin Herbert.
Mm-hmm. Now, one guy that I think they could go, Harbaugh is no stranger to the run game.
Oh yeah.
They love the run game, and I don't believe they have a very strong running back core right now. So there's a guy from Ohio State, just won a national championship. Travion Henderson.
Oh yeah.
He's a little small at 5'10", but he's over 200 pounds, so he's a big guy. His speed is dare I say, unmatched by just about any running back in the draft, outside of maybe Genty. He's a natural pass catcher. He can run. He can run really well. And Harbaugh likes to run the ball. The only reason they probably don't go him is because as a Michigan guy, I can't imagine him taking someone from Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Jim holding that grudge, but if he for some reason does, Cam Scatabo out of Arizona State is also a great pick at this spot.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit smaller, 5'11", 215, big guy still. He's a little bit older too, 23. So he plays with a chip on his shoulder.
Yep.
Those are the types of guys that Jim Harbaugh likes.
Yep.
I see that being a potential pick. I mean, they talk a lot about mentality over there in LA, and Cam Scatabo is one of those guys that has that winning mentality and will go out there and give it his all every single play, no matter if they're winning, losing. He just came off the bench. He just got benched. He'll be giving it all, his all.
No doubt. Pick 23, your favorite team, the Green Bay Packers.
Greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers. They should take Aaron Rodgers at this spot.
I think so. He's probably the best player in the draft.
They should pay him $200 million a year too.
I agree.
But realistically, they'll probably go corner here, bolster that secondary.
Yeah, someone play offside of Jair Alexander, who is getting old. I don't hate them going in defensive line here either.
Yeah. To combat the Vikings building their O-line this offseason, going defensive line would make sense, being as the Lions and Vikings both have better O-lines than they do.
Yeah.
Having to compete with those two good teams in the North would make sense.
For sure.
All right, my team.
All right, your actual favorite team.
My favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. So we need several positions. The roster overall is good. The team's a little bit older. Bringing in some younger guys. We have no draft capital this season. We have 4 picks. I believe it's a first, and then like a 3rd, 5th, and 7th or something. So like we have nothing. I think they trade down. We have no glaring holes in the roster. I see them trading down, probably down to 27, 28. Kwesi, our GM, likes doing business with the Lions, dropping down to the Lions spot if there's somebody they want to come up and grab. Would make sense. He also likes doing business with the Bills, but I don't know if they want to go all the way down to 30. If they stick and pick, they're probably going to take someone on the defensive side of the ball, because we have filled our offense is fine. All we needed on offense was O-line. We got that. I'm ready for the team to roll with McCarthy, so a quarterback here doesn't make sense. But unless they're going to trade back, then I can see them taking a quarterback. But at this spot, I would definitely go on the defensive side of the ball. Who? I don't really know. Probably a corner. I could see them taking Morrison out of Notre Dame. He's a good man coverage guy. I could see that. Brian Flores wants to be able to play more man coverage than he has in the past. His first season, 76% zone rate. That dropped to 72 this past season. He wants to get that down to like 40 because he loves blitzing. He doesn't want to have to blitz every play, but he wants to be able to get pressure on that quarterback. And with our new additions on the defensive line, I think we'll get that pressure. So getting a guy that can play man coverage, I think is a good pick here.
No doubt. All right, moving on to pick 25. The fellas down in Texas, Houston.
Oh.
They've had an interesting offseason. Very quiet. Obviously, they brought in Cam Robinson, Lakeland Tomlinson, and Ed Ingram. None of those players truly jump out at me. They lost Stephon Diggs. Obviously, Nico is decent and Tank Dell, but you're talking about 2 injury-prone receivers mixed with the fact that I don't think their running back room is all too strong. So the holes in Texas are much more glaring than people want to probably admit. So I don't know where they go. I think they probably go Gray Zabel, offensive lineman. I mean, you got to protect CJ at the end of the day. He's probably the best player available at this point. Second best interior offensive lineman ranked in this upcoming draft. He's 6'6", 312, huge guy. So that's probably who I would imagine them going.
Yeah, I see them going offense for sure. I don't know if it's necessarily O-line, but with CJ Stroud regressing, it definitely has to be an offensive player, whether that be a running back or an O-lineman. Gray Zabel would be a good pick. If Cam Scatabo is still here, I could see them going with him, getting that hard-hitting, hard-running guy to pair up with Joe Mixon. I feel like would comfort CJ Stroud a little bit more in that pocket, giving him a bigger running back to pick up some of those blitzes. I think would be a good pick. Yeah, I mean, bringing in Cam Robinson and Ed Ingram, those are, if they want those guys to start, it's going to be a rough season.
Yeah.
Both of those guys are former Vikings. Cam Robinson did a good job filling in for Darisaw when he was out, but I mean, they're both bridge players at best. Ed Ingram's a serviceable backup. So Gray Zabel at this point does make a lot of sense. Moving on to pick 26. The other LA team. They share a house with the Chargers, the Rams. How do you see the Rams going here at 26?
Man, so the Rams, what an exciting team. At 26 here, revamped their defense. Obviously, the talks of Aaron Donald being gone, everyone thought it's over. But Jared Verse really stepped up, and they got that other guy too, Kobe Turner. Their defensive line and linebacker core is very strong, and I think they continue to bolster the defense this draft. And I think this is where we see Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky, the 5'11", 183 corner, come out. Obviously a little small for a corner, but this guy is going to be able to play the slot, I believe, and he's going to be your nickel guy really well. He picks the ball off quick, ran a 4.2 840, so he is very fast, has great ball skills, great ball knowledge. Again, tightest school record for interceptions, pick sixes this last season, so dude picks the ball off great. So you get your 1-2 punch down your line with your linebacker core, and then you get another guy to help play up top. I really think that corner makes the most sense for them going into this pick right here, and I think that he is probably the best pick for them at this time, Maxwell.
Yeah, I agree. I agree there. I mean, the Rams definitely go defensive side of the ball. Their offense with Matthew Stafford, they always find a way.
Always.
It doesn't make sense. They always put points up. Every situation, there's points on the board for them.
Although there is some possible fear. I mean, obviously with the subtraction of Cooper Kupp this season, as he's now in Seattle.
Yeah.
Obviously, and Puka is not the most healthy historical receiver.
Yeah.
And with an interesting running back situation. But again, I just don't see anyone glaring offensively at this pick, or that they could take. I think anyone they picked offensively at this pick, strong reach.
Yeah.
At best. So I think with their first round pick, the first round pick they've had in years.
It's been a while.
I think Maxwell just makes the most sense.
Yeah, I agree. He's a strong player. 27, we have the Baltimore Ravens.
A team that's always so good in the regular season, but can't seem to get it done. Obviously, Lamar Jackson coming off of an MVP year, looking exciting things offensively, getting a better year out of Zay Flowers upcoming. Derrick Henry obviously had a good year in Baltimore as well. So offensive line continues to look good. I think they go to address probably their biggest need, which is defensive line. This is where I see Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. 296, 6'4" defensive line. A little bit. Again, I'm marginally a little small for me. However, I think he is an exciting player. And they have Namadi on the other side, who is a very serviceable and undervalued lineman in the league, who played very well last year. And I think the two of these playing together would make the Ravens' defensive line a force to be reckoned with, and dare I say, feed families with how exciting they'd be performing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, a team I strongly dislike, Detroit Lions, pick 28. I hate it. They're gonna go defense.
Their
offense is elite already. Jared Goff coming in out of LA, I think 4 seasons ago now. It turned out to be one of the best trades in the history of the Lions.
Their franchise, yes.
Yeah, in franchise history. I mean, they turned that trade into just a couple guys that I can remember. Their running back, what is his name? The guy out of Alabama. And then their tight end. See, I don't like the Lions. I don't know any of their players. But they go defense. I see this being where, and forgive my pronunciation of this name, Donovan Ezeugaku. That's probably wrong, but Boston College. I'm surprised he's still on board here, honestly. Great measurables, 6'2", almost 250 pounds, 21-year-old senior out of Boston College. Good pick, very experienced. He could have declared last year if he wanted to, and probably still would have been a very high pick. But great stats, played 12 games, almost 800 snaps, with 14 sacks. That is something that the Lions could use next to Hutchinson.
I was about to say, a guy that can play off ball with Hutchinson, take some pressure off of him, would be absolutely huge. I mean, again, the Lions, it's like you say, they battled so much injury and adversity last year, and they were still able to. I mean, again, they fell short in the playoffs, and they probably will continue to do that. But again, I like Donovan there as well. I think that'd be a great fit for them.
Yeah, and I hope they continue to fall short. Vikings need to hang one up. So, I mean, at the end of the season, their defense was literally rolled over and died. But you can't blame the secondary on that because they were getting absolutely zero pressure on the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So bringing in Donovan, whatever his last name is, out of Boston College makes sense here.
Next up, I would say the most exciting team coming into this season, the Washington Commanders, a team that is very ahead of schedule in terms of their rebuild.
Oh yeah.
Dan Quinn obviously whipped people into shape there, got the train moving.
Yes.
Jaden Daniels having an incredible rookie campaign, looking to continue with that momentum. This is where I would probably imagine their biggest need is probably still on the defensive line, so this is probably where you see Kenneth Grant go, again, another Michigan guy. Starting to see a theme here. Michigan guy, dude, 6'4", he is 331, so pretty decent measurables. They lost Jonathan Allen in free agency. So last year, I mean, he racked up 6.5 sacks. He was All-American honors, 3 fumble recoveries. He's a big-time run stopper, and I think that's the kind of stuff that they need, or that he would need for them to take that next step of this next season. So that's who I have going.
Yeah, I agree with that. if they don't go interior, I can see them going edge. James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee would also be a good pick here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big guy too, 6'5", 250 out of Tennessee. So he's a big edge rusher. So he could kick inside if they want to run a 4-3. But I think Kenneth Grant also makes sense, like you said. Can't go wrong with a defensive line. It's right here.
That's right.
Pick 30, we have the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. So with the Buffalo Bills, gosh, they probably go.
I think they need to go receiver here.
I like if Mbuka or if Egbuka, the guy, if he's still there, I like that pick. I like Luther Burden out of Missouri as well. I also like. I think those are going to be the two receivers that are going to probably be there for them because I think that's their biggest need is receiver. There's just no one there that really excites me. I would love to see Keon Coleman take a bigger step coming up this season. However, just a disappointing rookie campaign from him. So I'm hoping that we also see a jump from him. Again, I think their offensive line is good. Josh Allen, obviously, this year's MVP.
Yeah.
There's a reason that he won the MVP.
Great player.
Absolutely balled out this year. They need somebody that's going to help them get over the hump, man. And again, I think that they need a receiver. Dalton Kincaid obviously had a great year at tight end, so I think they see that receiving threat in him. But they need someone that can play slot, someone that can get open and downfield, win those one-on-one balls. So I like them getting a receiver there.
Yeah, I agree with the receiver pick. They do also have a little bit of a need for linebacker. Their linebacker core is not the most healthy. They have some rough injury history with Matt Milano being out for some significant time in the last couple seasons. I think if Jalon Walker is still on board, that would be a great pick here. His average draft position, according to PFF, is 18. So that would be some very good value at 30. Guy out of Georgia, he is 6'2", 250. So he's a big guy, stop the run, jam up those A and B gaps. I think you can't go wrong here. The Bills are a pretty well-rounded team. Receiver help, like Lewis said, if Egbuka is still on board, you have to take him. Crazy production for the 30th pick. That's crazy production you'll get out of him.
Yep.
But a linebacker would also make sense here.
Yeah. Pick 31, the Taylor Swift Chiefs. I think they go offensive line here. Donovan Jackson, Ohio State, 6'4", 315. Their offensive line was horrible this year. They lost Joe Thuney. Again, I think this just makes the most sense. They get their Rashee Rice comes back healthy. Xavier Worthy steps back up. Obviously, maybe hope to see Travis Kelce produce a little more. Defensive side of the ball is still very bad. But again, I think you got to protect Patrick Mahomes. That's what they're going to do. Donovan Jackson, offensive line, makes perfect sense right here. So that's who I got.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to go O-line for sure. They have so much money in Mahomes that they're going to go O-line. Andy Reid knows that. He's not letting an O-lineman slip through their fingers. Moving on to 32.
See, this is where I have James Pierce being taken. I think with the subtraction, they need some rushing help for sure. I really like James Pierce. And I think that this is going to, their offense has clicked so much. Our offense is so good right now. And I don't really see a need to address anything offensively.
There's no needs to address on their offense.
Get a guy that can rush the quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. All right. That's all 32
So
picks.
that's our mock draft. Obviously, we'll be excited to see how everything folds out, and then of course you can expect us to cover the following information and the following days once the draft is concluded. We look forward to seeing how everything turns out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Lewis here with my buddy Luke here, and this has been episode 2 of the No Ball Podcast. Until next week, we'll see you then.